As a running physio, I can tell you that most injuries are completely preventable and are usually the result of a mistake that the runner makes. In this video, I'm going to share with you the top 11 mistakes that runners make in their training that lead to injuries, and in that, share what you can do to make sure that you prevent injury and train better. Mistake number one is running on the same route and terrain for every single one of your runs. A lot of runners will just step outside and run around their neighborhood and do the same track every single time. The problem with that is if you run on the same surface, so you're always running on the road or on your treadmill, if you're doing the same surface and running the same path, that repetition is what is going to start to wear out your joints and muscles, putting that repetitive strain on your body, which eventually leads to overuse injuries. Mistake number two is running at the same pace for every run. If you just run at a consistent pace all the time, you again are going to be placing that consistent repetitive strain on your body. Our bodies do not like to do the same thing over and over again. So having different paces through your week, having some faster runs, some slower runs is a really good way to avoid injuries. Mistake number three goes in line with the last one, and that is not having enough slow runs through the week. You don't need to be running at your fastest and training at your hardest for every single run. It's great to have some slow runs through the week. Not only is that going to help prevent injuries, but it's also going to allow you to train more often and increase your cardiovascular fitness, which is going to make you a better runner in the long term. Mistake number four is something that I'm sure you've heard about. It is strength training. Runners hate strength training, but it is absolutely necessary to avoid injuries. And in particular, you want to be doing strength training that is working on your core and working on single leg balance and control. So you don't need to be going to the gym and doing anything too intense. You really just need to be working on stability, control, glute strength, hamstring strength. I have heaps of videos on this channel if you need some inspiration. Mistake number five is not doing cross training as extra cardio. A lot of runners think that cross training is doing anything that is not running, but that's not quite true. Cross training is a particular type of training where you're still working on your cardiovascular fitness, but it's giving your legs a break from that repetitive running. So an example of cross training would be swimming, cycling, rowing, all of those activities that get your heart rate up and keep it elevated for a long period of time. So instead of doing 5 runs a week, it's a good idea to do, say, 4 runs a week and change one of those runs to a cross training session. You're still going to be working on your cardiovascular fitness, but you're going to give your legs a break from that repetitive running. Mistake number 6 is not getting enough sleep. If you're training hard, your body needs that time to repair and recover, to rest. If you are working really hard, training really hard, staying up late, not getting enough sleep, your body is not going to have enough time to repair itself properly and get you ready for your next training run. What that is going to lead to is overuse and breaking down of tissues and eventually leading to injury. Just like sleep is important, so is a good balanced diet. Not only is it important to watch what you eat, making sure that you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and really getting a very nutritious diet, it's also really important to make sure that you're eating enough. Women in particular are at risk of under-eating, especially when they are training a lot. This under-eating puts your body in a very stressed out state, and it is not going to prioritize repairing your tissues, repairing your muscles, your ligaments. It is going to be in pure survival mode, and so you are going to be far more likely to get injured because you're not in that good, healthy state of being where your body is going to be looking after itself and repairing after each training session. Mistake number 8 is wearing the same shoes for every single run and not changing it up. Again, our bodies like variety, and there's been some really good research to show that people who have 2 or 3 pairs of running shoes that they rotate are less likely to develop injuries. The other benefit of having a couple of different pairs of shoes is that you do put different stress on different parts of your foot, and that helps to generally strengthen up all of your foot muscles and help build resilience. So rather than buying one new pair of shoes every 3 to 4 months, try to buy 3 or 4 pairs for the whole year and rotate between them throughout your runs. Mistake number 9 is ignoring your pain. This is something that I, of course, see a lot as a physio, but people will come into my office and say, I've had this knee pain for the last 10 weeks and I've just been trying to deal with it and run through it. That is the worst thing that you can do. Not only has it prolonged the time that you've been in pain, it has probably made the injury worse and extended your time for recovery. The best thing that you can do is get your injury, get your pain looked at early on. Don't try to ignore it, don't try to run through it. Even if it's nothing significant, seeing a physio about it is going to help you make sure that you are doing the right thing and getting treatment for something that needs to be looked at rather than ignoring it. If it's something that you need treatment for, the quicker you start the rehab, the quicker you're going to be back out running, and the less likely you are going to be to have secondary issues and compensations in your body. And I'm going to go straight into mistake 11 here, which is trying to just rest an injury. Rest itself 99% of the time does not fix injuries. Rest might make the injury feel better while you're resting, but I can almost guarantee that as soon as you go back out running, that pain is going to come straight back. Again, this is something that I hear a lot in my office where someone will say, I've rested it felt better, but then I went back out running and the pain just came back. And that is because you haven't dealt with the actual cause of the injury. You haven't fixed what's going on. You've just given your body that period of break, that little rest, which made it feel better, but the injury is still there. So make sure you get your pain looked at, don't ignore it, and don't just rest it. And the last mistake that people make is increasing their mileage and their speed at the same time. If you are training for an event or just generally trying to become a better runner, it's natural to want to push yourself every week. What you don't want to do though is push too many elements of your training all at once. So if you have a week where you're trying to increase mileage, don't try to run faster that week as well. What a lot of people do is they go out and they just try to run as far or as fast as they can every single session. You need to be a little bit smarter, a little bit more calculated with how much load and stress you're putting on your body. So if you are trying to increase your speed, really focus on increasing your speed without also increasing your pace, without also increasing your distance. If you are working on increasing your distance, don't also increase your pace. So work on one or the other and then really gradually build up that load, build up that stress in your training system. All right, there you have it, the 11 most common mistakes that I see runners making that lead to injuries. Check your training plan, check how you're structuring your workouts, and make sure that you're not making those mistakes in order to avoid injuries and run for longer and be a better, faster athlete. See you next time.